Welcome to the Game Junkie Show. I'm your host, Crystal. Joining me today, very exciting, very funny, very sexy cast from the Brothers Pearson. We have Hunter and Zac here. What up, dudes?
How's it going? Thanks for having us on. Very excited to be here.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Stoked.
And from the Ha Ha Kill Me podcast, we have Sal. What up, my man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me on.
Same old shit. We also have an unwelcome guest today, the COVID-19 bug, which is living rent-free inside my immune system for the second time in 6 months. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So anyway, for folks
Kick the shit out of it.
I'm gonna try to kick the shit.
You're in the process.
Maybe some whiskey might clear it out, but if it's not gone,
Hot toddy.
Well, yeah, I would say
hot
hot toddy will definitely do it for you.
There we go. Or some titties. Something's got to work here.
Some hot titties or hot toddies.
Yes,
Whichever one you want.
hot toddy.
Maybe both.
So
Maybe
just
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. That would actually be perfect. Hot toddies leading to titties would be ideal. So let's break the ice super quick. Just a quick question, round robin. Hunter, I'm going to start with you. What is the very first video game that you ever remember playing?
Oh, the very first one I ever remember playing was Frogger. Original Atari 2600 Frogger. Although I think we had an Atari 400. I don't remember. All the Ataris had weird numbers, but I think most people would remember. But yeah, our neighbors had an Atari, and we would go over there sometimes to play. And I would completely neglect all of my friends and family and just be like, no, I'm doing this. And I that game still would capture my attention. Frogger is definitely my earliest video game memory.
Frogger's still an excellent game. Zac, what about you? What's the first video game you ever remember playing?
She's playing is hard to remember. I do remember being like a 3-year-old and watching Hunter run around GoldenEye, getting himself killed quite a bunch.
But you don't remember the victories. Okay.
You don't remember my golden gun? Like, sharpshooter?
No, I remember you looking down at your watch and then looking back up and getting shot in the face by somebody.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's like us with Hell Let Loose last night.
Yeah, that was definitely Hell Let's Loose last night. First game might be Banjo-Kazooie. May have been one of the first ones I ever played. It's like the only one that comes to mind going back that far.
That's really like a pretty good insight into just how many years separate the two of us. Zac was a surprise baby.
Yup, totally.
Will after me. I think I was 12 when he was born.
You're 11.
11.
You're 11 because we got 13, 11, and 8 years between me and the brothers. So
I'm 11 years.
Thanks for the math correction.
Oh, I just know that off the top of my head. So basically, he was the only child.
It's been weighing on him for decades.
Yeah, I'm 11 years older than my younger sister.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I
cool.
There, Hunter, because like we were like gone and way off the nest before they had a chance to blossom into their own little people. So I totally feel you there. Sal, what about you? What is the very first video game that you ever remember playing?
Super Mario World. And I didn't even know what I got for Christmas. I opened up this box. I remember looking at the Super Nintendo logo was like these 4 kind of like the buttons, but grayed out or something like that. I'm looking at this logo. I'm peeling the box. I see Mario riding a dinosaur. And I just have this giant box, and I look at my parents on the video. It's just like, I'm like, what is this? I had no idea what was in front of me. And yeah, damn amazing game, that Super Mario World.
You know what? I have to add to that one thing because my son, who was playing MLB The Show 22 last night, I showed him a picture of like what baseball games looked like when I was a kid. And I was, because I was like, I was showing him like the old school, like just baseball, like the word baseball, like pictures of that. And then he was like, oh man, he was like, I wish I could like play some of the games. And I was like, oh, I have the like Nintendo Classic and stuff and the Super Nintendo Classic. I was like, I could hook that up if you want to play one of these old games. So we hooked up the Nintendo Classic for him last night, and he picked Super Mario World to play and like wouldn't put it down. Like that's how well it holds up that my 8-year-old was just insanely in love with playing this game. And then today he woke up and immediately came to me. He's like, can I play more of like your old video games? Because that game is just it's still just so good.
Yeah.
So I had a similar but completely opposite experience yesterday, or was it the day before? Because I got Winter playing Super Mario World on the Switch, but she was having the FromSoft experience of dying repeatedly and just getting frustrated to no end.
Oh.
But I just you gotta just push through it. You gotta find your way through it. It's just a puzzle.
But was she playing on the Switch controls? Because I feel like having that like Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah, I mean we have the NES Classic as well, so I could hook that up. But no, she was just playing it on there
Okay.
with just the normal controls on it.
Yeah.
I've had her trying out a few of the older games. Like all that expansion stuff
Sure.
they've done up is amazing.
Older games were absolutely much harder. Like newer games, you
They're
could
so
play
much
the
harder.
game and like die a couple times. Old games, you would. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking Mario. How many times we died trying to get through 99 goddamn fucking castle levels for that bitch
Yeah.
who was probably all fucking Bowser anyway. We
She
died like
was, yeah, not worth it at all. You know, the other one he played was the old NES Mario Kart, and
Mhm.
like he's very used to playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, where it's like you can put like the bowling bumpers up where you like can't drive off the road. It like auto accelerates. It's like
Oh
it's
wow.
like kid fail proof, and like now he's trying to play this one, and he's spinning the entire time off the road. It is so much harder
on Rainbow
to
Road.
control. Yeah, seriously, fuck that. Stupid
Just
Rainbow
falling
Road.
off.
So let's jump into the first Nerdgasm question, then shall we, gentlemen? So
Yeah.
and I'm going to share what
Yeah,
our
that's a lot.
I'm going to share the results of the polls that we asked our Twitter friends. So the first discussion
Are you
is
going to share it before or after we answer?
I'm going to share it right now. So the first question is, can a lightsaber cut through vibranium? And 61.1% of Twitter said, fuck yeah, it can. And 38.9% said, no, the fuck it can't. So let's talk a little bit about that. Can a lightsaber cut through vibranium? What do you guys think?
Y'all wanted to take turns? Who do you want to go?
Just go at it. I mean, I'm going to
vote
say it can.
yes.
Absolutely.
Okay,
a
good. We're all in,
lightsaber can go
we're all in
through
agreement
vibranium.
then. I also agree. I think, fuck yes, it absolutely can. I'm going to put a caveat on this. I think if somebody swung a lightsaber, I don't think it would just slice right through it.
I don't know.
But I do think that if you wanted to cut through it, you could. You know, kind of like Qui-Gon Jinn does, like when he like shoves it through the metal. I think you could get through it that way. I don't think if you just sliced it, it would just go right through it.
I was thinking like the door. It needs to have the heat applied, long-term force.
But could
I mean,
could the vibranium hold a user, right? Because I mean, a Jedi, their mind tricks are obviously right. The Force is a greater weapon than a lightsaber, but theoretically speaking, wouldn't vibranium be able to hold them back significantly enough that a vibranium army could?
I could see the stormtroopers using vibranium swords and whatnot. But doesn't Jedi Fallen Order have something like that?
Yeah, they have
lightsabers.
Yeah,
they do have something like that. It's what is it? It's not frick. It's a different material that they use
for the lore.
I forget what it is.
Because it's like a baton basically that just gets like shrouded in almost like a Sith Lord, like a lightsaber.
Yeah. So there are metals that can, in theory, stop lightsabers, but I just don't think vibranium would.
So if we're going to go into this, like technically, I feel like what most people are going to think of when you think of vibranium is going to be cap shield. But cap shield is not just vibranium.
Like an alloy.
Yeah, it's an alloy. It's closer to like adamantium, which is significantly stronger than vibranium. So at that point, it may be able to stop it, but
doesn't vibranium have other properties, like it can reflect energy or something like that?
It's good. It's good against like blunt force because it's vibrating and it will repel the force back.
Yeah.
So how well would Black Panther do in a battle against a lightsaber? I mean, because his whole suit,
he would have to dodge.
That's a lot longer than other people.
I think he would do pretty well. I mean, especially if he's like reflecting back the energy of a lightsaber strike, that would be pretty badass.
I think it would take a long time for a lightsaber to build up enough heat.
Again, I think if you're just hitting it, that's just the force impact of it is not going to do enough. It's got to have time to actually. It's almost like if you're trying to melt it down. Like vibranium, obviously, can be melted down and shaped into things. And so, if you're talking about a lightsaber is basically an arc reactor covered with a magnetic field that basically keeps your hands from not burning off, because the actual temperature is supposedly of an arc reactor, like in real life, can get up to like 25,000 degrees Celsius or something. So it's like 5 times the surface of the sun.
So there is somebody who has actually created like a working lightsaber. It does have to be hooked up.
I saw that YouTube video.
Yeah, and
that was awesome.
It burns at 4,000 degrees. So that gives
that's
you
the surface of the sun almost.
Okay, but have we
and that's
found
in real
Wakanda
life
yet? Because we're going to have to get vibranium to test this. So has anybody found Wakanda?
No,
not
I'm not
quite yet,
found it. No, but I do think if you were trying to cut through it, you could.
I mean, you got to think about the Wakandans had to have some way of harvesting the vibranium, and I would assume they would have probably not used adamantium because had not been created by the time they were mining vibranium. So they had to have some way, and they probably had some sort of superheated laser, which was not that far off from a lightsaber.
What was that movie where you had to like move? I was thinking about your question about Black Panther. There was like some movie where you had to like move slow enough to actually make contact. Like is it Dune?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dune.
And then like the vibrating shield, and like if they just pierce the thing
slowly. Yeah, exactly that kind of thing. Like if you were to like force onto Black Panther, I think that it would deflect it and it would absorb it into the suit. But I think if you could slowly just shove a lightsaber, it would melt it and would do the damage.
Like Sal said earlier, when you're going to bust the door, you have to, and then kind of hold at the heat.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like this easy slice thing.
So all 4 of us are in agreement. Then it sounds like that. Yes, a lightsaber could cut through a vibranium.
It could cut through it. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to all agree on this one, and that happens to be also the consensus.
That's weird. Surprised that Zach and I agree on something.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, let's see if that trend continues.
Yeah, let's go.
The second question: can Magneto move Thor's hammer? 34.8% of Twitter said yes. 65.2% of Twitter said no. So let's
see. You gotta stop giving me the poll results. I'm just gonna agree with the most popular one every time. Everyone likes
Oh man, conformity. Yeah,
I'm kidding.
We can do.
I've not seen these results.
No, I'm kidding. I am kidding. But this one is. I also line up with the guys. The vote. You know, I don't. Yeah. Because the rule is you have to be a virtue, right? So if Magneto has like a moment,
that virtue is wielding it. I didn't say could he hold it. I said could he move it?
Yeah, I had this conversation with.
Well, the planet moves with it on it. It's not like it goes through.
But I mean, if Magneto can manipulate electromagnetic energy, which would be surrounding Thor's hammer, then theoretically he could move it. He just may not be able to hold it.
This is my favorite question on the list because I think it's open for. There's more room for a discussion on this one about whether or not Magneto's ability, like has anything to do with this. Let me rephrase this. Like I was having this discussion with my neighbor, who's like a neurosurgeon nerd, and it's very smart, and we completely disagreed on it because I said no, like Sal. I was like, no, it's not about. You're confusing. You're trying to confuse the actual physics of something, like in a natural world physics, with something that has a supernatural property. So, you're sitting here going, well, if it has metal in it and all this other stuff, then he would be able to move it. He wouldn't be able to go over and grab it and pick it up, but he could definitely move it if it has metal in it, and I'm just like, but I'm like, well, if you think he could move it with his mind because it's metallic, then he could just go pick it up because he could just pretend like he was moving it around at the same time, right? You kind of defeat the purpose.
Question. Could he do? Zach, what do you think? Are you in the yes camp or the no camp on this one?
I am in the no camp on this, and I think it has to do this is going to get too nerdy for Hunter here real quick, but I'm going with like an elfin lied comparison. If you have any idea what that is, anime where one of the main characters uses like basically invisible hands to do things around them, such as slice people into tiny little bits or pick up objects. It is still imposing their personal will on the item. And for the supernatural property of Thor's hammer, the feeling of that will touching against it would not allow Magneto to pick up the hammer.
See, that's an interesting theory. So you're saying even if he could manipulate the electromagnetic energy around it, the magic, right, the will that's on it would not allow that manipulation to occur, even if he's not physically touching it.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I thought of? Like, what if Magneto went back to the Middle Ages and was asked to pull the sword from the stone, young King Arthur? Would he be able to magnet force the sword out of the stone? Because that to me is the same comparison here. It's about worthiness, not about its physical
My
properties.
answer would be yes, because I'm not sure if the magic can supersede some kind of bizarre, unexplainable mutation. Okay, the same question then: would Jean Grey be able to move it?
I don't think so. No.
I mean, because that bitch can like pick up.
She's
anything.
definitely not pure. Like, there's no way she's worthy of that.
Well, you just have a thing against redheads.
No, we don't.
Okay, in the X-Men movie though, Jean Grey, if I'm Kay Hansen, was a very hot Jean Grey. So, I mean,
there's no question that that's true, but also, kind of evil. So
okay, then let me ask Zach this: would the will simp for her because she's hot and go fuck it and let her move it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
All right, you changed my mind.
Is Jean gonna walk up and wiggle her top and pull like a
Thor's hammer is going to be asexual. It's not going to have any inclination towards anything other
that's
than strong will.
Presume it's sexuality, Zach. But okay.
I said it doesn't have a sexuality.
That's a presumption in itself.
It is true. You can't really define Thor's hammer for it. He or she or it would need to be here to.
I mean, if it can deem someone worthy, it can deem whether or not it's sexual on its own, right? Let it decide.
That's true.
Well, then in that case, Loki would have been able to do it because Loki could transform himself into someone hot enough to pick it up. But Loki cannot pick up Thor's hammer.
Can Loki transform himself into Thor and pick it up?
No,
I think that's like the same thing. Like when people don't believe in God, but they go to church anyway for their spouse. It's like they're hedging their bet. But it's like in your own lore, God sees through that, right?
Yeah, that's disingenuous. No, I know the term for that. That's Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager, like the basically saying like, well, yeah, but like it's better just to like pretend you believe, just to just in case.
I think that's so much worse.
I would imagine the same thing. And the interesting question about being able to move Thor's hammer, since again, like it's not like when Captain America like was finally worthy enough to pick it up and wield it, he was all of a sudden so much stronger than he was previously when he couldn't. It just doesn't have anything to do with physics in the real world. It has everything to do with supernatural. So I just think that the weapon itself can determine whether or not Magneto can move it by any means. It doesn't matter what it's made out of.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I stand on it. And I cannot believe 2 in a row that Zach and I agree again. This is a weird day.
Also, Magneto's ability doesn't affect all metals, and technically, because it is not an earthly metal, he may also not have effect on it for that reason. But that would have to be getting into the chemical properties of Asgardian steel. So,
were you going to say something? I was just going to say I kind of see it like the PEMDAS parentheses multiplication division. Like there's like an order thing, and when it comes to like this fantasy, you have to apply real world logic and all that stuff first. But magic and anything that's written, anything that's like created by the writer that doesn't make sense has to go last, and that I think is the stamp that like we have to view everything over. So physics and like what Hunter was saying, logic and all that aside, whatever the actual weird ass rule of the magical item is, that I think comes first. or that overrules everything. You know what I
I
mean?
like that thought. I like that thought.
Yeah.
So then, final question before we move on to the next one: what if Thor became a bad person, or Thor became somebody who was no longer
That's always been the confusing thing to me in the MCU is he's a giant dick. Like I can't believe he can pick the thing up.
That's kind of why I mean, I never thought about it before, but like, at what point would Thor become shitty enough that it's like, nah, fuck it, you can't pick me up anymore? I mean, could that happen?
I think the Hammer just loves him. Is all. It's like it's got its own.
He respects his confidence.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bad dog owner, you know, like. Even like some people who are like shitty to their pets, like those pets still, for whatever reason, show affection towards their owners. I'm not saying like really, really bad. I'm just saying like, you know.
So Thor's Hammer is extremely loyal. So it's asexual, like, extremely loyal to a fault.
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of got its own personality.
Okay.
I'm actually looking it up right now because I've never looked into it, but in traditional lore, it just says whoever is deemed worthy, right? And it's vague.
So who decides worthiness? Is the magical spell has like attributes written into the code that says this is the definition of worthy?
Well, I mean, ancient gods were very, very like emotional. They feel one way one day, then another way another day. I feel like it might change with the seasons.
Yeah, well, it definitely did. I mean, gods' temperaments usually changed with like how you know well civilization was going, or whoever was believing in them.
How well syphilis was going. I'm like, what? That doesn't make
syphilis.
sense.
Yeah, however much syphilis there is in the world, that's what affects Thor's hammer the most.
Cassandra of Sparta, could she have wielded the hammer?
Yes, I'm going to say yeah. You know, that's an interesting question. Like, who else in the comic book universe do you think could wield it? That's like I think an even more
like video game characters. What are there any video game characters?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. This person would be able.
Video game character.
Mario definitely wouldn't because he's a simp.
I mean,
Luigi definitely could, though.
Yeah, I think Luigi would because he's quiet, he's reserved, and he just does all the nice stuff in the background, all that mansion clearing and whatnot.
That's such a
better brother
answer. I can't even believe that's where your mind went. Like that's a much more interesting because I was like, could Kratos? I'm like, no, there's no.
Kratos would not.
What if we cross? Oh, Kratos definitely couldn't. What if we crossed over and went? Are there any DC heroes that would be able to lift?
Definitely not Superman.
I would assume Wonder Woman probably could.
Wonder Woman could hit. Gal Gadot could hit me in the head.
He's probably one of the best answers there.
Not Superman, but Steel. I think Steel would be able to wield the hammer, and it already fits his like brand.
It's just tough because I agree with that, but like I feel like most good comic book characters are written with some real purposeful flaws, you know, like that makes
Zach's
them.
got a point. Wonder Woman is pretty. I mean, if you're gonna,
Wonder Woman is probably the best answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's pretty close to flawless, especially Gal Gadot. Gadot or Gadot?
Whatever.
Gadot.
That version is pretty flawless on a lot of levels.
She's a wonderful Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, she's so great.
I would watch a bad movie with her playing Wonder Woman.
That last Wonder Woman movie was awful, but I watched the
Not great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it a few times.
I forgot I watched it till just now when you guys mentioned it.
So bad. So
That's my review.
bad.
The first one was really good.
Yeah, I actually really liked that one. And I liked her a lot more in the Snyder Cut because we got to see a lot more, like 400 hours more of things that I thought were completely relevant.
Sure.
Right.
I enjoyed the Snyder Cut a lot.
That's a perfect segue because now we're going to jump into DC really quick. Okay, so does it really matter that Superman can leap tall buildings in a single bound if the dude can just fly over it? So 55% of people on Twitter said they would continue fucking jumping. I don't know why. 45% said, nah, fam, just fly away. I'm in the fly crowd. Fuck that. I'm not going to fucking bounce. I can fly now.
I love like how animated you are on this one.
This is because he's a real important question, guys.
I'm scared to answer.
I think the better question is like, why not just go around the damn thing? I mean, you're talking about a tall building. Like, it would be faster just to run around it to begin with.
Yeah. What's above and higher than the building that Superman needs to get over instead of going around? Also, we're assuming that it takes no effort on Superman's behalf, but like the amount of calories to fly is insane. Like, I'd rather hop if it costs less. You know.
I think the only reason he would do it is to impress chicks. That's it.
I mean,
I have a friend that used to backflip.
Well, no, I'm talking about jumping. Like, he's like, I can jump over that fucking building over there. And they're like, oh. And they said, but I bet you the thing is, here's the thing. I bet you, like, there are times when he goes to like jump over a building to impress a girl, and like kind of shorts it, doesn't quite make it, and just does like a little flying. Just like a little bit to get him just over the top, and then he like falls on the other side because like Superman's a piece of shit. Like, he would do that.
Okay, but John Carter, I do want to point out when he went to Mars, which is what, Barsoom, and Princess Deja Thoris, he got to marry her because he was showing off jumping.
He's a super jumper, but that had more to do with the gravity on Mars.
And
right?
Martians are really easy to impress.
Yeah. What was more impressive to me about John Carter was the fact that he didn't freeze to fucking death immediately. You know, that was impressive. More impressive than the jumping part when it comes to Mars.
I would fly, but see, now I want to dig deeper to what Sal said. Does Superman have to have a specific diet? Like, does he have to keep his body in shape, or is that just the way he is? Is he?
Yeah.
Does he have a limited amount of energy? And like, what happens if he didn't consume enough carbs and he's got to fly all day? What happens?
Yeah.
Well,
can he find off a hamburger or something like that? It's like,
doesn't he just get all his energy from the sun? He's basically
I was like, I think he gets all. I don't think I've ever seen Superman eat anything. Does he eat?
Oh,
maybe
Clark
eats. He probably eats just to like, keep up the cover. But like, I don't know if I've ever seen actual Superman eating something.
Like, does he poop? Does he poop?
God.
Oh, he definitely does it while he is flying and or jumping.
Yeah,
just to let
he
it
poops.
On
purpose, on top of people. He aims it at people.
According to Fiction Horizon, Superman does not need anything to survive. He doesn't need to eat, breathe, rest, or drink. Oh my God!
He's Joe Dirt
next to Lois.
Joe Dirt's people. He like does it in the middle, like way up in the sky, and then it freezes, and so it just like kills people as it hits the ground.
I do not like Superman as a comic book character, by the way. I think that's probably come out because of reason like this. Like, there's a good reason
he's super
why
powered.
There's never been a good Superman video game, because like, what's fun about just basically being able to do fucking everything all the time? It's like there's no shortcoming. Where's the challenge in any of this? You can just go wherever you want. I mean, hell, you can fly in the opposite direction and apparently turn time back from spinning the world in the opposite direction. Was that Superman 2?
without sending everyone flying off to the distance.
By the way, if you stop the Earth and spun it in the other direction, you would kill everybody instantly. That's what would actually happen.
Yeah, because we all get thrown.
I saw an interview fairly recently in the last few years, I think, with the director, and apparently that was just a visual representation for the audience to understand what was happening. But I'm like, but he still flew around like the Earth, right?
The time still went backwards, which is not how that works. If you spun the Earth in another direction, that doesn't change anything related to time.
That
Earth.
And the torpedoes bending in Star Wars always stuck with me as like a what?
What's the Force?
That was a vacuum in Star Wars. It sucked them down in.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Could they maybe like a thing where Superman, Henry Cavill, makes the Earth spin backwards and then it's not flat anymore? Like flat earther people, like we could include that.
It stretches it out.
Like, whoop, and then it like.
Jeez. All I know is if I was a city planner and I had any say on it, there would be like trace amounts of kryptonite in every material that we built buildings out of, just so that asshole couldn't jump.
What color kryptonite would you want it to be, though, Hunter?
Green.
Crystal, you got me thinking. In my lore, Superman would have a giant carrot, and he'd make the giant space turtle that's holding the Earth on its back chase it.
Did you just change your background to Superman eating carrots?
You just noticed that. So I didn't answer the question, but I definitely think that he doesn't need to hop tall buildings. I think Superman just wants to. It's fun.
Yeah.
Just because he can. Now,
Yeah.
I want Sal
When
to
he get
explore
old.
his detective skills. Does Superman have organs? Like, if he doesn't need to breathe or eat, does he even have like a
Well,
GI system? Does he even have?
He
a
has
heart?
produced children in the comics, right?
Oh
I don't
man,
know.
We don't want
are
to
we
get back
gonna
to
go
that
down that road?
conversation.
Are we
So
going down
I-
the Superman coming?
I
road?
imagine this. Imagine this. He would have a functioning, semi-similar situation, a system of organs, maybe not identical, but some system that work in concert to keep him alive on his planet. That where he'd need to sustain himself traditionally.
Everything
how we
except
do.
for a heart.
But now, okay, he's a heartless. Okay, cool.
He doesn't need
You
to-
really hate Superman. Holy shit.
I don't like Superman.
But here, by virtue of some magic writing, the sun is all he needs. So I'm thinking that he might have just some dormant stuff going on in there, you know, that when that little mechanism gets activated, then all of a sudden it's baby making time, or it's
Okay, so then
Yeah, wait.
question.
maybe he drops a pellet.
I mean, he does grow a beard.
Yeah.
Technically, he does have an interesting way that he has to do to cut his beard. He
How
has to
does he
shoot
cut it?
himself in the face with his laser eyes.
Oh, that's
Oh
right.
Jesus Christ! Oh, because of the hair. Okay, so then I have
That's
two questions.
so funny.
What if the AI from the Matrix, right, blots out the sun, and now Superman can't harvest his energy? And could a mortal earthly woman really handle that super wang?
Oh God, you did go there. First of all, I guess he could probably using stored energy fly to the nearest star. Although space is insanely big, would he be able to make it in time to actually absorb its energy? Because even at light speed, the next star to us is like fucking 4 years away.
I mean, he could fly into the sun. It's just blocked out, right?
Yeah, it's because you remember, like in the right, the AI destroyed.
Yeah, I think you just have to like routinely, kind of like a
Like
dolphin.
get above the clouds.
Yeah.
Like a dolphin, like Superman
Yeah.
dolphin.
I get
He
above
would just jump. He would just jump
Yeah.
above the clouds and get a little refill and come back down.
And then further generations of Superman all start developing echolocation, and they start.
I think
All
he
right,
just
well-
scorch the atmosphere. So technically, if he went above cloud level, he should be able to absorb sun.
I
Who
think
wants
so.
to be the bravest among us and actually go down the road of whether or not Superman's jizz shot would kill a regular woman?
It would kill
It
me.
How
would
would you
not
test
as
that?
long as he. It would not as long as he had a kryptonite cock ring. He would
Dude.
use.
I've thought about this way too long, and I'm like, if I was the Superman, and I was like about to get carnal with my lady, and obviously we both have the thought, like, I think this is dangerous, right? You'd have to practice, right? You'd have to practice, like, pointing it at other things. Also, if you were Superman and in your 30s and you hadn't already had an idea how fast that shit shoots, I think that's just kind of weird. Maybe he was raised way too conservative or something like that.
But he was out in the middle of nowhere.
I think you and your partner would have to like point it at a couple bushes or something. I don't know what would potentially cushion it. And then
They
Okay,
would just
so-
do it, and he would just go like on the wall, and then they could
well,
turkey base.
it didn't go through the drywall, so we can assume it's not that powerful. Then you work on a thinner material, and then thinner, and then you work your way down to like soy paper or something like that. And then,
Soy paper.
I don't know. I couldn't think. Rice paper. I was thinking, I don't know.
Rice
What was
paper.
thinking.
When do we get to the pinatas? See if you can
So-
get through the paper mache.
I just think, and I don't. This is weird for me, but like to Superman's credit, I mean, the penis is a muscle, and this is the person who has the strongest and most control over his muscles in the entire history of the universe. I'm just pretty sure he could kind of control the speed at which it came out. You know,
But in that moment of it happening, would he lose control? Because
I mean,
he's
I know
no
I
longer
do.
thinking. Exactly.
Actually, Zach, I'm surprised you didn't know this, but he actually slows it down by using his laser vision as well.
the question is, you know, when we're all growing up, you know, you have to like if you wanted to exercise, I think you had to get like a wet towel. Like, what would Superman have to use to work his out? You know,
Oh
It
my
would-
god!
it would
A
be
wet
you'd have to
tire.
like take like you'd have to like take like the Golden Gate Bridge and just like balance that on the end of it. lifted
He'd have
up
like
and
king sheets like rolled up, like instead of spot here and there,
down.
rolled up and sticky and all tacky in a corner.
He probably wouldn't need to, though. I mean, he's just born with it.
Would he? Okay, so if Superman put his very special super sperm, okay, into the lady bits of an Earth woman, would the superness of that spawn, that seed, just like fuck up her organs and like blow her up, or would she be able to produce Superman's child? But would the child be able to retain all the same abilities? Because like would the child be like a demigod, like half Earth and
I would say yes, probably be like a demigod. I mean, technically, while it was still in the womb, it would not be like super, because if it had the same ability as Superman, it wouldn't be getting sunlight while it's in there. So it'd still be normal until it got its like first bit of sunlight. And then
is it the direct sunlight? Yeah, I guess it's not the vitamin
Does Superman
D.
have DNA? You guys are acting like a Superman.
I mean, he has to have DNA. He on Krypton, he's just a normal he would have been a normal Kryptonian. They wouldn't have. Like, they didn't have superpowers or anything there. It's just due to the radiation of the sunlight that he actually gets his superpowers.
That's true.
Well, okay. So I think yes, baby could be made, but I think it would kick its way out of its mother's womb.
Yeah, it'd be more like The Boys.
In like 20 weeks, it would be like.
The Boys isn't like that though, because The Boys, they do it after.
No, I'm talking
like
about
laser,
in the sense
like
of like
cesarean.
the violence and like the realism. It's not necessarily like a story from The Boys, but it'd be very like Boys like to have like Lois be like, I don't feel so good.
This is why when you went down this path, I rolled my eyes, because this could be like an entire hour and a half of just talking about Superman's like cum shots.
Well, we won't.
I've actually done research on the subject. If you'd like to go into it,
I'm going.
Oh my God! I want to point out though that was inspired by your Headband of Conception. So if anybody doesn't know, Hunter's very proud of that Wilson headband that he's sporting on his sexy head right there, because that headband was used the evening that he produced.
Yeah, it's my wife actually sent me this picture since this came up in our conversation before we jumped on this podcast. But yes, I apologize for showing. I'm gonna like try and show the top half of this, and you don't have to see too much of my. But this is it's very rare, I think, that people know like the exact time that their child was conceived. But my wife was doing a what do you call those when you're in school and you have to go actually work a job? Blanking on the name of that.
Internship. She had an internship at a hospital in Mississippi, so we weren't close to each other. I was down there to visit her, and we had been playing. We decided to have indoor apartment tennis, so we got pretty drunk and we played tennis inside of her apartment. We dressed in all Wimbledon whites and had these headbands on. We were just really stupid. And then we took that picture of us completely hammered right before we conceived Andrew, who's outside playing right now. He's 8 years old. So this is my headband of conception. I was asked to wear it, and I am proud of it.
That's what I'm gonna, and I like the picture of the pre-coital.
I like that it's pre too. We were like, what are we gonna do?
The pre-coital tennis match. So then let's jump on, because we have more serious, very important questions to discuss.
Yes.
Guys, I got a big problem with this. The fact that a hot dog is considered a sandwich. According to Twitter, only 28% said, duh, of course it's a fucking sandwich. 72% agree with me and say, nah, it's not a fucking sandwich. What say you, gentlemen? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes, absolutely. A hot dog is a sandwich. A taco is also a sandwich. A folded over piece of New York style pizza is also a sandwich. They're all just things.
All of those have backs.
Some sort of like.
All right. You know, I knew that we would probably disagree at some point. I'm glad that this is the one, because if anybody, did anybody just hear him say a piece of pizza is a fucking
Okay, but
sandwich. Everybody else just
specifically, it's a New York style that you fold in half.
No, any piece of
floppy
pizza,
crust
apparently,
is-
if you fold it in half.
Well,
But-
anything that's like 2 pieces of bread with stuff in the middle.
So what about an open face sandwich?
Okay, Sal.
That's an open face sandwich.
Sal is going to do us the honors as our
So is a pizza then in your definition?
researcher of the evening.
much.
Sal, would you please Google what is a sandwich? What does it mean?
No, I don't even want to know the technical.
No, I
do it anyway,
trust
but I
Sal
don't want to know.
with these research intensive topics.
I'm glad that most people agree with me on this.
It's basically a food consisting of 2 pieces of bread with meat, cheese, or other filling between them.
Okay,
I disagree with Zach because those pieces that he described all have backs. They have 3 sides. I think you need a top and a bottom. If you slice that pizza back after folding it, then maybe you have a sandwich. But until then, don't talk to me about that,
Isn't
Zach.
like
And
a
also
sub?
calling a
So
taco sandwich.
what about it? What
He
would
called
you
a taco
consider a
sandwich.
sub?
He called a
Would you
taco
consider
sandwich.
a sub a sandwich?
A
Yes.
sub or
Now
a
the
hub?
word
There are
sub,
lots of subs that they do not cut
No,
all
no.
the way through.
No. Listen,
always
the
breaks on
word
me, though.
sub and sandwich and hoagie are interchangeable for the most part. So yes, I think of a sub as a sandwich. Now, if you went to a store and you said, or like a shop, and you said, I would like a meatball, they're going to give you a fucking meatball. You have to ask for it as a meatball sub because you have to differentiate between that. If you went to a shop and said, I would like a hot dog, and they just gave you a fucking wiener, you would look at them cross-eyed because they're an alien or a cop. Like, there's no chance that those things are even the same at all. Like, if it's a sandwich with almost, there's maybe a couple of exceptions to this, but almost always, you basically have to include the word sandwich in what you're asking for. You know, like if you ask for egg salad, they're just going to give you egg salad in a tub. You have to ask for an egg salad sandwich or a ham sandwich. You said, I would like, you know.
But a
I mean,
hamburger is a sandwich, and a hamburger is going to default with the bun.
I mean, you went down a totally different. Is a hamburger a sandwich?
I don't
Based
know.
on the definition that Sal gave us, yes. But I mean, if I look at a menu at a restaurant, usually a handheld or a sandwich, they have a burger.
I see sometimes you have sandwiches in one section and burgers in another. I would disagree. I don't really think of a burger as a sandwich because it's the same. It's the same thing. If you ask for a burger, you don't have to define like, yes, I would like the bun with it. You know, because you're putting it on a bun.
Same thing
and
with a taco. You're going to get a
You
chef.
could make more of an argument that a hamburger is a sandwich, but a hot dog, there's no fucking way you're going to convince me that's a sandwich.
Can we talk more about this pizza and taco being a sandwich thing? And then I have a follow-up for that.
It's the same.
Chicago
It's the same
deep
concept.
Dish. Is Chicago deep dish pizza then a pie? Because by technicality, I mean,
I would put it on that same.
According to him, a pie is a sandwich.
How is a pie a sandwich?
It's shit. You can put ham and cheese in a pie.
Yes, but that doesn't go along the piece of stuff. It's wrapped in the bread. So then
you have a pie. There's bread on both sides of it.
But it's
all of the
made
crust. There's crust.
All right. Well, what about
crust breaks like that?
It's
tacos and pizza. Like if you fold over a piece of pizza and you're eating it like this, you're holding it like a sandwich. Then yes, it's basically become like a cheese sandwich or a cheese and meat sandwich. It wouldn't be any different than if you got like a meatball sub, as you're saying. You could
or a chicken pot pie.
Okay, so
that's a sandwich now.
They have empanadas. You could get an empanada that has meat and cheese in it, and that's not considered a sandwich or a pie.
He lost all credibility when he called a taco a sandwich. Nobody's going to listen to anything he has to say after that. A taco is a sandwich.
I mean, it's just following the same pattern. It's meat inside of something wrapped around it.
You laugh, but actually, people in that discussion thread on Twitter, there were people talking about how folded pizza and/or tacos could be a sandwich.
I want to see how they make a taco. I want to see how these people that think a taco is a sandwich make a taco. And
I made tacos last night.
Let me tell you something.
Disgusting.
You can make a hot dog sandwich. What you need to do is you get a hot dog and you put it in the bun. You put whatever you want on it: ketchup, mustard, relish, onion, whatever, chili. I don't give a shit. Whatever you like on the hot dog. And if you take that hot dog and you put that between 2 slices of bread, you got a hot dog sandwich right there.
Boom.
That's a hot dog sandwich.
That sounds like
Yeah.
a regional dish that would do really well.
Is Zach the only one? Zach is the only one of us that said
So that
yes,
goes
sandwich.
that goes with the whole Twitter thing then, because Twitter said basically like 25% almost.
I wonder if
said,
28.
Yeah.
probably a generational thing. They're like too literal.
But that's, I mean, if I look at the definition and be literal about it, then I could understand why people think a hot dog's a sandwich. It just feels weird for me to say it's a sandwich.
Well, yeah, but you can't like if you're trying to get that technical, then like you have to go all the way like Zach did. You have to say that if you get a they make some pizzas that are like stuffed pizzas that have dough and bread on both sides of them. That is a pizza. And if you're willing to go there with a hot dog, I think you got to continue with that literal definition and call all this other crazy shit sandwiches. And if you're going to draw the line somewhere, I think you can draw it. And I think hot dog is way down the end. I mean, I don't even put it close to the line. But if you're going to draw the line, I feel like as a normal human being, you have to put hot dog on the side of like, no, I'm not going to call that sandwich. We've come too far with hot dogs to like have that unnecessary confusion. Nobody is ever going to be confused. If you ask for a hot dog, you mean I want a wiener between bun.
That sounds sexy.
So, yeah, it is kind of. I mean, it can be a very.
It sounds like
experience.
it's the West.
West.
Oh my God.
I would, if somebody asked me for a hot dog sandwich, I would ask them to leave.
That is true. We don't ask for a hot dog sandwich or a taco sandwich. We don't even ask for a burger sandwich. We just say burger.
Yeah. You ask for a turkey sandwich. You ask for a ham and cheese sandwich.
I'm going to ask for a burger sandwich. I'm going to start doing that.
I'm reluctant. Yeah, start doing that. Like a burger sandwich. You're going to get some weird.
It's true because, like, if I go to like Publix and I say I want a wrap, right, or you want it in a pita, or you want it in a sub.
There are some sandwiches that have extremely specific names.
You
don't have to put. Yeah, okay, just stop. You don't have to put the word sandwich behind it, but it's just because they're so popular, they got their own names. You know, Reuben,
Monte Cristo,
BLT, Monte Cristo. Like there are some like super popular sandwiches that you don't have to say that you have exceptions to.
Oh, I want a Cubano now.
And also, there's the wraps can go by wraps, but if you call it sandwich, people will give you sandwich. But a hyphen fixes that. Sandwich wrap. Earlier, you talked about Chicago pizzas. Pizza pie, that makes sense for the deeper style pizza. Add a hyphen every once in a while. Maybe the last part implies the first part, but sometimes saying the first part and expecting, a hot dog sandwich. What?
Yeah,
that is true. I like Sal's approach to this. We need to everybody in the world watch the show and start doing that. Okay, so I'm going to ask. I imagine that there are a lot of people at home watching right now, or a lot of people listening right now who feel moist. So we're going to talk about the word moist for just a minute, because I know this has been a very, very sexy episode so far. So I asked Twitter, how do you feel about the word moist? And surprisingly, 31% said I like it, 49% said I don't give a shit, 9% said I don't like it, and 11% said I fucking hate it. So are there
I'll be right back. 1 second. I'm sorry.
Hunter's moist right now. He's got to go fix that.
Are there any other words out there?
Yeah, I'm gonna go make the back of the toilet moist. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, he's got the headband of conception, so we'll see him in like 4 minutes when he's done. Are there any other?
His bladder's not that big.
Yeah. Are there any other words like moist that are completely innocuous that just sound like they just agitate people the way moist does? I don't understand why some people hate the word moist, but like. Are there any other words that can do that, like the word moist?
Like one that I like is sexgasm, or it's sexagasmly, which means it's 60-sided.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sextagasmal. Yep.
I don't know. It doesn't really cause a reaction with me, but I'm surprised it doesn't stand for something dirtier. Congenial. I feel like congenial should have something else to it.
I feel like it goes along with the whole like congeal. So it's like you're thinking about something like congealing. I can see that.
I don't know.
It could sound sexual if you didn't know what congenial meant. I could see where somebody might think it's.
I could see a dumb cousin of mine being like, "Yeah," and then we got congenial behind the dumpster, and it's like, "I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
Yeah,
I know where you're going with that one." I don't know why my cousin sounds Italian. I'm not, but
Is the word? Is anybody here bothered by the word moist? Firstly, are we all on the same page? We're like, yeah.
I mean, that's fine. It's just a word. It doesn't bother me. I mean, if I'm going to describe a really good piece of cake, it's moist. Yeah. It is a moist piece of cake.
I'm actually more bothered by this whole ew moist thing. Like, come on, really? Like, really? Like, it's come on. It just feels like a meme that's gone on a little too long. And yeah, when I hear moist, it excites me. Cake, you got a muffin, you got a brownie. It's going to be moist and delicious.
Okay, but everything you just said, somebody's mind could totally turn it sexual. Like moist muffin, and then they think.
Yeah, no, you're right. A moist brownie is actually a sign of.
So my question then becomes, well, then why does that bother them? Because I mean, if you were like, if you do sexualize it, like that's even better to me. I love it. I like it even more.
Because my friend used to hate the word dollop.
Maybe some people don't like the implications that they think when they think of moist. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it's just a word still. I mean, I could say like this test is really hard, and it doesn't mean that maybe your brain starts thinking about an erection. Because I said hard. I don't know. I can't control where your mind goes, but I personally, I don't just tolerate the word moist. I celebrate it. I love that word. I think it's great.
I like the word. I just, when anybody says the rare occasion where somebody starts talking about their car and they have a Volvo, I'm like, Volva, because I'm like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
The parts.
We're all very immature.
Yeah.
So there probably are a few words that we don't absolutely love.
Before we move on to the next topic, are there any words that rhyme with clitoris? This just spawned. You got it. It just spawned on the top of my head.
Hit or miss.
Hit or miss.
Probably.
Hit or miss.
Whoa. Hit or miss. That's a bit of a slant rhyme, but I think you can count that. Yeah, it wouldn't be like.
I mean, you definitely, when you're looking for the clitoris, it's a hit or miss. So.
Yeah.
That is true.
Oh, wow.
Back wins the
Jesus, I hope you've never actually used that.
No, I've not.
The Bloodhound Gang taught us that Sabrina rhymed with vagina, but now that I'm like other parts, I don't know if anything.
I'm only thinking of a slant rhyme too. Like if Eminem was like, clitoris can be found in the thesaurus. You know,
you got to search through the forest for the clitoris.
Yes. We're freestyle rapping on the Gabe Junkie Show. This is great.
Oh, God.
I got lost for a second there. Did I miss a rap?
Oh, well, Sal.
Are you thinking about moist?
Like, if you can't find the clitoris, look for it in a thesaurus. And he busted out.
Oh, damn.
I think that rhymes of chorus. My favorite 80s action star. Yeah, Chuck Norris.
Chorus.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. This is like when like Eminem found a bunch of words to rhyme with orange.
You know what else? The clitoris is for us because we all like it. All right.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. So on to, oh God, we're going to be here forever on this one. I should move it to last. I know better. Okay. So what real life person would make the most evil villain? What real life person would make the most
clarification? Is this somebody like who's alive now or like real life whenever?
I pick Jeff Bezos.
I mean, isn't he already Lex Luthor?
Pretty much. And that's. Did you pick Sal?
Sorry, I picked Mother Teresa, and then my brain went to like any pope.
Yeah, I had my brain went Pope too. No,
why is Mother Teresa the best villain?
Pope is definitely.
I mean,
there's a case to be made for Mother Teresa for sure.
I feel like Mother Teresa, she was in the public eye. Everyone gave her just carte blanche, assuming that she was just like the best person ever. So you can have some Kingsman and the Secret Service level shit, where secretly she's actually going around all the countries and like, you know, double crossing people, blackmailing people, running these child rings for, you know, manufacturing or whatever other purposes childs are used for. Children.
I think you're going in a direction you don't even need to go to. There's actual books. There's at least one really well-known book by Christopher Hitchens about what a piece of shit Mother Teresa was. Like, amazingly.
Oh.
Right? Like, you didn't expect that, did you? All right. So I'm not really gonna go there because it's not something I share with the guy, but like there's an interesting argument to be made because she was extremely Catholic, obviously, and was in areas where she was basically convincing people that condoms were evil, and she had clinics where they were faith healing, where people probably could have survived otherwise.
Oh man,
there was a lot more to her story than what was in the public eye. So I'm not.
So it
I didn't
sounds like
want
she
to
was
really get too
accidentally
deep.
evil. Like she was so devout and
I
in
think-
her faith that she accidentally did evil things.
I think she was absolutely one of the strongest people of faith, especially on the Catholic side. But there's a whole nother argument to be made about whether or not that's a good or bad thing. So, and I'm going to just leave it at that.
It looked like a villain.
But if anybody wants to read about if anybody wants to go down that Mother Teresa was one of the most evil people, I promise you that Christopher Hitchens thought that she was. So
wow. All right. I might
Well,
check out that Audible.
it's interesting. It's not very long. It's not a very long book. He did a couple like that. He did one on Henry Kissinger. He did one on Mother Teresa. He did one on the Clintons. He's got a lot of books about like these people aren't who you think they are.
Well, Sal just knocked on the park and didn't even know it. Zach, what about you? What real life person do you think would make just the most evil villain?
I don't have trouble with this because I didn't think of any big names. I was thinking like Matt Mercer or Brennan Lee Mulligan, just like because they're DMs and they make really good stories, so like they could make up some really evil shit. Was kind of my idea. But if I'm thinking about it,
Don't you steal mine?
Don't steal yours. But maybe you need to go first then. If I'm going to steal yours,
No, I want to know if you're going to do it. Although you are.
Like, why am I blanking on his name right now? Last Week Tonight. What's his name?
John Oliver?
Yeah. John Oliver could be pretty evil if he decided to. I mean, we saw it recently. His little ad campaign that he did in the DC district to like find out how susceptible like our congressmen and women are.
I saw that, yeah.
Like he could do some really evil stuff, and he kind of has the platform for it.
Oh wow! You know what? Him and who else does Sacha Baron Cohen? If they teamed up,
Sacha Baron Cohen's a good answer. Yeah, that's kind of more the line I went. I mean, obviously there are in history people who were actually legit evil that would be hard to top, like Hitler and like today.
Vlad the Impaler.
I mean, Putin is definitely evil, but I thought that the spirit of this question was like, who is not really considered evil, but would make a really good villain? And so I think the best answer I could come up with my head, similar to Zach's and the public perception, was Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is okay. So first of all, he already managed to get rid of one fucking planet altogether. So. He was like at the forefront of demoting Pluto, which is a pretty fucking evil thing to do. Like he destroyed all of our childhood hearts by like just knocking a planet out of the solar system and just being like, nah, it's not a planet. And everybody going like, oh man, we have to listen to him because he's like the best science educator.
That happened while I was still in school, so I thought it was cool.
Oh god, it was horrible. It's such a traumatic experience. And so you're talking about John Oliver, but like, who gets put on every late night show, like every talk show, as the person who like speaks to science publicly the most? And so he could just turn on a dime and all of a sudden just start convincing people of some crazy shit if he wanted to. And he's got that like, nice on the surface vibe going on, like, oh, I'm just like a happy-go-lucky guy. I think he could be pure evil if he wanted to be.
What about Bill Nye? A lot of people love Bill Nye.
Bill Nye, same kind of example.
Thing.
Yeah, Bill Nye, like
any of those people that like we kind of grew up with. Imagine if the Wiggles were like,
oh man,
so many kids would be disappointed.
What are the colored people? Oh my god, they're creepy and they have little shapes on their head and they're like
Teletubbies.
Yeah, what if those fuckers are like super evil alien things or some shit?
They're real.
They are pretty frightening.
I don't know if you watch Rick and Morty, Hunter, but there's an episode where I forget who they take. I think it's the dad. They take him to Pluto, and all of the Plutonians come out, and they're like begging them to go back and make a case for them to be a planet again.
I actually did see that episode.
That show's brilliant. That is
It's so good.
Show.
I haven't watched enough of them, but I did see that one. Yeah.
See, you guys went way deeper in it to me. I just look at Jeff and I'm like, that guy's angry. He's bald. He's short. He has a weird eye and a lot of money. Immediately, like, that's villain vibes right there.
They are those people in those categories are all villains anyway. They're basically modern day Robert Barons. So like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, like
Gates.
Yeah, Gates. They're basically, they may not mean to be evil, but they are like.
Yeah,
I think if I gave them a D&D alignment, some of them are like evil, chaotic evil. I think Gates may be like neutral evil, kind of.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would think of them as more lawful evil because he manages to find a way to do all of this evil shit within the confines of the law. I know that's not the technical term for like description of what makes him lawful, but like all of the tax stuff he gets away with, this stuff is definitely evil, but he's not. They just manage to either find or create these loopholes to fuck everybody over, but he will and does fuck anybody over to benefit himself. There's just no doubt about it. Same with Musk. They all do it.
An evil trait to me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So
I already think they're villains, so like I was trying to think of somebody who like I don't think is a villain, but probably could be.
I have to, like, the Mother Teresa thing just floored me. That's I'm
Oh yeah.
like,
I did not expect to come here to shit talk Mother Teresa.
I definitely check out that book because I used to
like meet somebody, like call a friend and be like, "Did you know that Mother Teresa was a fucking piece of shit?" Like, I'm so excited to have all this.
I got to tell you, Christopher Hitchens. I don't agree with all of his points, but he was, and he passed like 10 years ago or so. But he was one of the most entertaining writers. I mean, he is one of the smartest people I think who has lived in my lifetime.
Great debates.
Great really debates.
Entertaining watching.
He did a debate.
I can't believe him fully with everything, but yeah.
He did a debate with Stephen Fry about, whether or not the Catholic Church was a force for good in the world or not. And that's a really interesting debate. And if you want to,
I would want to check that out.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it's really good. You probably would like it.
I would. I love all that stuff. So let's go to the next thing. What are 3 things that you could walk into any store and buy that would make a cashier very concerned? Who wants to start?
This question, I get so upset with my own answer.
then why don't you share your answer if you're upset with it?
An electric automatic pulley system, a rope, and lube.
Oh, all right. I'm going with Zac because he's going to some kind of like freaky shindig.
That's really weird.
I mean, what do you think he's going to use that for?
Yeah,
the Hunter knows.
I don't know that I do. I'm terrified, but I see that.
Well, you'll find him in the middle of the garage instead of in the closet instead.
I mean,
call it autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the cashier would be into that.
Could be it.
I see you kind of went in the same direction I did, where I think to answer this, you have to start with like the most heinous thing you can think of and then go backwards. So my answer was Tootsie Roll Pops, NyQuil, and zip ties.
Yeah.
I think if you put that in front of a cashier, they might call somebody.
It also shows your age for picking a Tootsie Roll as the candy.
Well, I just figured that'd be an easier material to like maybe inject NyQuil into.
Werther's original, Grandpa.
I'm not gonna lie, you said that, and I'd hoped instead of the Tootsie Roll, you had replaced it with like Jello pudding to make an awful like coffee reference.
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of anybody buying those things together, but I was thinking, okay, this has to be stuff we can go to like a grocery store and just get like if I'm like a cashier, I'm thinking okay, I got to be able to get all these things at the same place and like have it like if you bought a whole bunch of groceries and had all of that mixed in, you probably wouldn't notice. But if that's all you put down,
that's all you bought.
you're getting a fucking question.
I was imagining like you go to Walmart because you can find anything at Walmart basically.
True.
True. Sal, what about you? What only three things would you buy that would make a cashier concerned?
So I kind of followed Hunter's logic, and I was like, no, I can't.
Yes, you
I can't do that. And Hunter did. So, So my second one was the smallest possible bottle of lube, a medium bottle of lube, and then the largest possible bottle of lube.
Well, you got to have your travel size.
That's so funny. That's a really funny answer.
I think they'd be like, why 3 different bottles? Clearly the biggest one's the best deal. They're not a sound shopper, so that would be concerning. They'd be like, this guy isn't good with money. Then they'd be like thinking about it later and be like, well, no, seriously, what's that guy going to do with those 3 bottles? Like,
that is
true. Different size. Is he going to shove one of the bottles? Oh my God. Is he... and then they just like start spiraling, and it's because it's so innocuous at first, or innocuous. Yeah, you just think like, whatever, and then after a while you're like, I don't know, because of psychological. I
feel like another answer to this would be like 3 just absolutely normal items. Like I couldn't think of a good ones for it, but like 3 normal items that necessarily don't mesh together. But then that's it. You're not buying anything else, and the fact that cashiers are used to seeing so much weird shit pass through. The fact that it was like 3 normal items that don't work together at all. Like, say like croutons, garlic. I mean, if you want to do like 3 breads, like croutons, garlic bread, and like heavy cream or something. Just something random.
I always wondered if they're
normal.
I mean,
I always wondered if they
bought like fertilizer and chlorine for a pool. Like, if somebody only bought those items, it'd be like, are they cleaning or are they going to make a bomb?
Right.
Yeah.
I always wondered that about like stuff like that. Is there like in certain systems stuff that gets automatically flagged if you're buying ingredients to make something like a bomb or like to mix like chloroform or something like that?
It does get flagged.
I bet you there are systems that just automatically go, okay, we need to flag this person's purchases for whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you why I thought of this question. This was many, 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 many years ago in my early 20s in college, and I worked at a Lowe's, and I watched a car at 6 a.m. circle the parking lot and come up multiple times to try to get in the door. This guy was trying to get in the door. We didn't open until 8. So 2 hours, the guy like waited in the parking lot doing circles, trying to come to the door. Finally comes in the door, buys a shovel, 2 bags of those giant commercial-sized black garbage bags, and like 4 gallons of bleach. And that made me go, what the fuck was this guy driving around? Walmart's 24 hours across the street.
Jesus.
Like, someone needed to hide a body.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that would make me very uneasy.
And that was like kind of.
He should have gotten that at the same time.
He might be making a redneck hot tub. You don't know. He could have been digging a hole and putting some trash bags in there, but needed to make sure it was clean with the bleach first.
He could have been. Or turning the back of a pickup.
Probably not.
Into one. I mean, where I live.
I don't think you circle a parking lot for that.
That's what was so weird. So granted.
Yeah, that's what makes it really uneasy.
Y'all had some good answers, and I don't know that I could pick a winner. Because now I really want to
forget them.
3 bottles of lube in different sizes. But like,
I'm going to find out.
You don't know.
Yeah, the other 2 are really fucked up. Okay, so this is a very interesting, a friend of mine posted this. It's about Thanos' snap. So this is something we have to discuss. It's a relationship question. You lost your spouse in the Thanos snap, but then 5 years later, the Avengers brought them back. But you'd already remarried and had 3 kids and spent your life insurance money on a failed food truck. So do you get back with your old spouse or stay with your new Thanos snap family? Like, how would that work if Thanos destroyed your life and you moved on and now your old life is back?
God, that sounds like a dream come true for my first marriage. Sorry. I mean, my answer is stay with the person you're with. You probably didn't want to be with the person.
What if it happened now? What if it happened
now?
Yeah, right this very minute, boom, it happened. Right this very minute, all of us get Thanos snapped, right? And our partners, our families are taken away and we're not. What do we do in 5 years when they come back?
If I'm thinking like hypothetically,
Yes, hypothetically.
like a completely different family, I'd probably say that I would just stick with the new family, just because that would be just too jarring. Like you had already grieved, I think they would understand. It's kind of like Castaway,
That's
like
exactly what I was thinking.
You have that same. You can't undo like what your life has become when you grieve somebody for them.
I mean, you got to listen to that. You spent the insurance money and your food truck failed. So what if like your new life post Thanos snap is suffering financially or would that matter? Would that make a difference?
I would definitely go back to my current wife if she came back. It's very doubtful that I would start any kind of life again without her, because I'm done starting new lives. This is the last one. I'm not doing it again. Yeah. So if that for some reason happened, I think I would go back to her specifically, because there's never been anybody that matched me that well, and there never will be. But like in the hypothetical, I think I would probably end up staying with me. That would be my answer, even with the failed food truck, because I'll fail at lots of things anyway. That wouldn't be anything new.
Well, it is easier, right? To just not starting over again sucks. So hypothetically, it would be easier to just be like, fuck it. I put 5 years into this. I'm not going to go back again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would be like a shitty thing to do, because I think the person that was lost would hopefully understand why it is that you moved on.
They don't come back with memories, correct? Didn't Gamora come back and not realize?
Oh yeah, they think they just were there.
Gamora didn't come back. Gamora died.
Gamora dies, but no, like Scott Lang comes back.
Scott Lang was also not actually snapped.
He didn't snap. That's right. But they come back and they don't.
Like you go Peter Parker. Spider-Man came back. He didn't have any memories. He was because he goes up. Like, we were fighting this guy, and then all of a sudden we're back. We left, and then all of a sudden we're back right here. Now we're here to fight with you. So like they don't know that anything. No time has passed in their mind.
So they come back. For some reason, I thought Gamora did come back.
No, because Gamora dies when they are going to. Thanos throws her off to get the
Red Skull.
Yeah, throws her off there. She dies. She's dead. There's no way to bring her back.
She died pre-snap. That's right. She died pre-snap.
Yeah, she dies pre-snap. But everyone else dies in the snap. The new Gamora that they have come in is the one from the past that comes back. Comes in.
She didn't know that was the guy that she like. So they come back with their memories up to the snap. Then that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
So that would be a lot of explaining to do. That would be hard. That like this old family shows up at your doorstep. Like,
might be a good opportunity to try and like work in some kind of little threesome thing. Is that what you're going to?
I mean, that's kind of where I was going with it. I mean, if you're finding love if you have love in like
just
your
by
first
the side
marriage,
of a mountain,
and you find love again, like just more love. And if it comes to the point where if the Thanos snap happened, you would probably come to a point where it's a lot about trying to repopulate the Earth because there's just not enough people anymore. So
I think if you have the population, there would still be plenty.
There'd still be plenty, but they would get to a point where it's the idea of repopulating, where in the past polygamy was actually a more normal thing because they wanted to have more population, and it just was a normal societal impact to have multiple wives.
I don't want to
also becoming more normal again. Like I get. There's a lot of TikToks with people showing their polyamorous lives. So
yeah, I don't want to confuse what I was thinking with polygamy. I was just trying to use it to get a threesome. I don't want to be married to more than
you
one
want to
person.
show your love to everybody, and having to explain. You're going off like having to explain what happened. Like they would need time for that to process, and it would probably just require a long enough period of working through it. And probably a lot of therapy to try and get through this.
But I didn't really think that could lead to like a Mormon situation of sister wives. I mean, if you think about it, you've got like old family that shows up with new family, and They're not going to know what happened. They just
No.
back and they're like, "Hey, where the fuck did you go, Hunter? I see you're wearing your headband. Have you been out conceiving without me?"
Probably. I got to tell you, even if cloning became a thing, there's no way in hell I would want two of the same wife I have now running around the house. And you just heard me describe how much I love her. So there ain't no fucking way in hell that I'm going to want two different ones either. That that's just too much. I can't handle that. I'm not a good enough person. I get a deserving amount of shit from my wife all the time. I can't imagine. It would be like the Office Space situation where I'd have like two different bosses coming in telling me the same thing.
Oh God, be like the Agatha Christie hour. It would be too much.
Yeah, yeah. There's no chance.
Entirely too much. Well, that's us. So let's work on wrapping up a bit, but I want to talk about you guys and all the fun stuff that you do. So folks don't already check your shit out, they can. So let's talk a little bit about Brothers Pearson and the fun Twitch streaming adventure that you guys do. Isn't it every Tuesday?
We do generally every Monday and Tuesday. We have something going on. Occasionally we'll throw in like a Thursday. Zac has like trivia on Wednesday, so usually not Wednesdays, but Mondays. Before we would have our Make Me Monday segment on the Brothers Pearson Twitch, and we're very informal. We just kind of like play and have people come hang out some. But Make Me Monday is kind of a segment where we try and kind of force each other out of our video game comfort zone. So we have to play things that we probably wouldn't otherwise play. So for me, that means like indies and like weird, pervy anime games.
Good old JRPGs.
Yeah, JRPG type stuff. And Zac has been delving more into he played Sekiro. He'd never really gotten into that before. And he plays
Resident Evil was
the
another
Sekiro was amazing. Zac's first time playing Sekiro, he fought this monkey
Guardian.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was
spoiler
great.
alert, has a second instance to the fight after you beat him. You cut off his head and he gets up and you're supposed to fall for the trick, and Zac somehow got him. Like
wasn't even that. I got him on
try.
the first one and he's laying there. I go over to teabag the guy.
Yeah, you teabag the headless ape. You teabag the ape's head, and I was on cloud nine. You got to understand that like Zac and I love each other very much, but like we are also very much brothers. I lived to watch him fail at things like this. So like while he's doing that, I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, he has no idea how bad he's about to get his ass kicked by this thing. It's about to stand back up, pick its head up, and just beat the shit out of him. Well, it picked its head up, stood up, and then Zac beat the shit out of it. And it was like one of the most disappointing moments of my video game life. I was so upset.
That's incredible.
It was a great clip.
Fantastic.
That's the one that throws, doesn't it throw shit at you?
It throws shit
at you, yeah.
In the first phase, it throws shit. In the second phase, it just like swings a sword at you.
I think it took me like 3 tries to get through the first phase, and then like that first time it hit second. I got away with the smallest amount of health you could get away with, but I did pull it off.
The thing about that fight it's one of my favorite boss fights too. I was looking forward to watching him struggle through it. You understand? Like that was like going to be the highlight of my night. And the first phase of that fight is so drastically different from the second phase. It's one of the reasons I love that fight is the first phase is like a very much like traditional FromSoft kind of like dodge, like stay out of like area attacks and stuff. And the second phase is like all parrying, like it's like a sword fight. So it just for the first time you face it, it's like designed to throw you off, like because you're changing your complete play style mid fight. And for whatever reason, Zac just knew that just out of like whatever some kind of weird video game ability.
The clips have to be looked up. I know they're on your Twitch, and the split between your excitement and how casual Zac's like, oh, new high score? Does that mean something good? Like that's basically what he was doing the entire night. Like, whoops.
Like top clips we've had. That one's definitely up there. I think in my Inside playthrough Inside was
fun, yeah.
just an absolute blast.
Yeah,
The
anybody
ending
who's
to that
not
game.
played Inside should go do it first. But then we have a fun clip of like there's like a big twist in that game that's fun to watch him do. And then we have one where Zach we did like a whole and Sal was involved in this too. We played like for like a year and a half Divinity Original Sin 2, and Zach somehow managed to confuse. He was an undead character, so he takes poison to heal himself. And somehow he managed to confuse in the middle of like one of our worst, hardest fights. He confused his poison health potion with a like witch's brew, which is also like green in a bottle. That like mid fight just turned him into the most fucking useless cow. He was just a cow walking around, and it was the funniest thing. Like he couldn't do anything except for just get beat up as a cow.
That's
hilarious.
It was fire.
That game is
hysterical.
amazing. The fact that you can do that in a game like that is just the best.
It's kind of spawned our most recent Monday segment too, which is another thing. Actually, it's kind of a Make Me Monday for Hunter. Hunter never played Dungeons and Dragons, really. He always made fun of our oldest brother, saying he was a nerd because
he is.
Our oldest brother Blake was pretty big into like 2nd or 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, he was like big into it.
And so we've been doing on Mondays with Sal and a bunch of our other good friends from Great Game Debate, and Dan, our good friend who is doing the DM, has been leading us through some adventures and having a total blast with that.
It's really fun. It's really fun. It's sad because Dan's out doing piloting things, so he's going to be gone for a couple of weeks, and we're all itching to get back into that. Yeah. So we'll have like a couple of weeks off of that, where I think Zach's going to try and play through some Resident Evil 2 remake as our Make Me Monday.
Yeah, I think I'll do that this Monday, and then the week after that, I'm not going to be here, so Hunter will be playing something.
I will put
it's pretty casual.
On if you're on YouTube or on Anchor, I'll put the link to where you can find the Brothers Pearson on Twitch. But do you guys? Is it a relatively short URL that you can share verbally in case anybody's driving?
Yeah, it's just like whatever. It's like the Brothers Pearson Twitch TV, whatever that is. Yeah, it's just all written out, and we have a YouTube channel too. I'll give to you that we kind of like some things like I've been uploading some of the D&D. We record that and upload that.
Oh, good.
If you want to go watch and follow along with that.
I want to be.
Hunter has a Let's Play for Pokemon Arceus that he's doing because he was never really a Pokemon person. So
is it pronounced Arceus? Have I gone like 10 episodes in calling it Arceus incorrectly?
I think it's debatable.
Okay, yeah, I've been playing with Brad Russell. I don't know anything about Pokemon, and he knows a shit ton about it. So I've been playing it, and he's been just basically my guide, telling me like where to go and what to throw balls at.
Brad's Japanese game knowledge is fucking insane.
He's so knowledgeable, and he's done that. He's like a good guide for video games like that. Mm-hmm. I know he was helping Wes out through Persona 5.
Yep.
He gets into a very different part of Pokemon, though, that I think most people don't. He is a breeder. He sits there for hours. He says he has like 400 hours on Sword and maybe like 300 hours on Shield, just so that he can breed up the Pokemon how he wants to.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been really fun, and I look forward to it every Thursday.
The Pokemon PETA might like to have a word with Brad, so we probably shouldn't expose him too. Where can folks find each of you on Twitter? What is your handle that folks can find and follow you?
I'm at J Hunter Pearson.
That's PEARSON.
Yeah.
Not like, not the other way. That
the PIE, the incorrect spelling.
Yeah,
we spell it correctly.
Zach, where can folks find you?
I'm at Zearson0 on Twitter. You can find me there. Also, find me in the Great Game Debate Discord. We do a lot of stuff with them. Great group of guys, just really, really interesting. Have a lot of fun conversations. You can generally find us playing in their general chat, and just always have the voice channel open. Anyone's welcome to come join us and hang out.
I'll make sure all that stuff makes it into the pinned post. By the way, the episode we did on this show with the Great Game Debate owns the crown for funniest episode. Someone needs to own what we did in that episode. Sal, tell us a little bit about the Ha Ha Kill Me podcast, if you would, please.
Yeah. Haha Kill Me is like it started off as like just two guys shooting the shit. I had just gotten out of like a year and a half long hospital situation. I was getting my colon removed, and it took a year for the surgery. And I didn't eat for 7 months, 8 months roughly. I didn't have an appetite. And then the entire time I'm recovering and or dealing with this, I'm also dealing with a roommate who I met through comedy, who was smoking crack and meth and stealing from us. So the podcast kind of came from like me venting with my buddy who had coincidentally just lost his therapy, his insurance for a few months. So we just have these good conversations, these stories, and it was all him pushing, hey, you have a computer here? I have microphones. He bought microphones. It's like, I don't know. He set me up with the equipment on like my computer, you know, the apps, and now we have a podcast. We're like 18 episodes in. We release every Monday or every other Monday, and it's variety. We definitely angle it and aim it to be funny as possible, but there are moments where we just talk about, you know, certain real things. But I don't think there's anything wrong with two guys doing that in a room together. It's actually a lot of fun, and I've been getting good response for the podcast. So I'm really glad I started it. Actually, some mutual friends said that they've considered and or started therapy since listening to the podcast. I won't divulge their names, but if you pay me, maybe I will. If you give me 50, I'll tell you who. And no, it's just a fun podcast. I really appreciate if anyone wants to give it a listen. Just like all podcasts, the first few episodes are particularly rough because we don't know how to record, and then, you know, as time goes on, we do improvements. I really do hope you get some laughs out of it. I think it'll entertain most people. It's explicit, definitely on the more adult side. So I'm always shocked when people tell me they listen with their kids in the car, but you know,
I do not.
The folks
yeah,
into the Haha
definitely
podcast. Where can we find it?
Haha Kill Me is on all major podcast apps. Anchor, I'll send you the link. We're on iPod, Spotify, all that stuff. We'll be putting it up on YouTube in the next few weeks with just some generic video in the background until we start filming. And yeah, I also do the Awful Neutral podcast. Can I talk about that or briefly?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, and it started here in San Diego with all local comedians. I wasn't a D&D player. I was really kind of apprehensive to join, but because it's all really, really funny people, Damon Mercado, Jesse Egan, who just released a comedy special in the last year. It's free, or in the last couple of years, actually. Time's been weird for me. Sarah Lee Steiner from the Miller She Wrote podcast. Yeah, we have a lot of really good cast members. It's a lot of fun. Again, it's more on the mature side of comedy. Everything I do, it's just hard to filter. I cuss a lot. I'm sorry, but it's a fun time. If you like D&D, if you like having like 1,000 D&D podcasts, make us your 1,000th.
What is the Twitter handle if folks just want to do a quick follow of Haha Kill Me?
Haha Kill Me Pod Twitter, and it's the same as on Instagram. We're going to slowly start uploading that with clips. And let's see, I'm Sly Funky Monk on Twitter for all the gaming stuff, and Salvador Viesca V. I also do comedy. If anyone in San Diego wants to do open mic comedy, we run a show at the Rabbit Hole on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. If you want to show up 30 minutes earlier, you sign up. You can you're guaranteed to go up. And on Wednesdays, a good bot. If you want to do any stand-up, come on down.
Where can we find the D&D content on Twitter?
That's it. Awful D&D. Awful D&D, not the ampersand, letter N.
I'm glad that because my brain immediately went ampersand. Like I really, I'm a big fan of the ampersand. And
I mistype it every time.
What's that? What's an ampersand?
I'm always mistyping it. I'm always like, oh yeah, we're N.
Awesome. Sal is Twitch affiliated too, just so you know. He's very entertaining to go watch on Twitch.
Yeah, I do Twitch. Sly Funky Monk on Twitch. I have fun playing with these guys. I'm playing a little bit more. I think I took like 2 weeks off. I've been selling. I sell eBay clothing, like vintage clothing and reselling. So I've been like grinding like crazy, but I'm slowly starting to play video games again. So see me on Twitch. We'll hang out.
Awesome. Sounds great. And again, everybody, we'll make sure to post the links and all the handles in YouTube and on Anchor. So thank you for a great episode today, guys. Incredibly sexy. I mean, we knew it was going to be hard. I mean, it's not just from the lights. I mean,
don't say hard.
You know, but I think it's safe to say
you're making me moist.
Probably hard right now, and so I think it's a fair assumption to make. So thank you for an awesome episode, guys. I hope you come back and we'll have to do some more fun shit.
Yeah,
soon.
such a blast.
Yeah,
And,
thank you so much for having us.
Thanks
A
for
lot of
coming
fun.
on. And make sure you
Yeah.
check these guys out, support them, give them a follow, check out their stuff. And until next time, thanks for watching and listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.